Dating can have its challenges, especially when you have a physical disability like cerebral palsy. Please stick around if you want to hear my experiences with dating, especially pertaining to online dating. Well, hello, my friends. Thank you for joining me again today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys had a lovely holiday. It's been a hot minute since I put out a new video, and I appreciate your continued support as I took a little break off for the holiday season and for time with family and friends. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season and had lots of time to spend with those that you love and those that love you. For those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Blemmy. I'm a 36-year-old woman. I had a birthday yesterday, living with spastic diplegia cerebral palsy. And my goal with this channel is to spread awareness to the general public and to gain a community for those of you with a physical disability, to show everybody that living with a disability is not all that different from everyday normal life. Okay, so I've had some requests, and I thank you guys so much for your continued input and feedback on my channel to do a video in regards to dating. Now, I've thought long and hard about how I was going to approach this video about dating, as I don't really have as much experience with dating as people might often think. Just a little background on me in case you haven't watched any of my other videos. I highly recommend that you do go back and watch some of my other videos. But I am now engaged, have been almost a year, and I have been dating or seeing my fiance now for 6.5 years, so it's been a long time. But before that, I, of course, was in the dating world and had limited success with dating. Now, with most people around my age and in this day and age, gravitate towards online dating, and I was no exception. Now, I didn't meet Rob, my fiance, online, so none of this has to do with me successfully dating someone, but I do want to talk about my experiences with online dating and what I did, even though I don't think that it was successful. I didn't go on many more than first dates and very fewer second dates of people I met online, but I thought it would be interesting and maybe helpful for you guys to know how I approach dating and online dating, and maybe you can take lesson from what I did and not do the same things, or incorporate a little bit of what I did into how you approach dating and online dating. Okay, with all that being said, let's get into it. Now, I do want to preface this by saying these experiences and opinions are my own, and they do not by any means reflect anybody's opinions or experiences but my own. And like I said, it had varying success, so take it for what it is. You guys wanted to hear this video, so here it is. I'm going to start off by talking about my dating experiences starting from when I went to college all the way up until, I stopped dating in the dating scene because I finally had met Rob. But up until then, 2004 was when I went to college. Dating myself. 2004. Facebook was just brand new for those people in college and university, so I was on that. And I do believe at that time dating sites were popping up, and I did use one with my roommates called Plenty of Fish. Was the main dating site that I used because it was free and it seemed like a lot of people in the area were using it. Dating with a disability is hard. Meeting someone with a disability is hard. I thought for surely I would never meet anybody in the typical ways, just, bumping into someone would see me in class and start chatting me up. I just never felt like I was approachable or attractive or dateable. So I thought maybe online dating would be a good place to start. Because with online dating, you can pick what pictures you show, you can kind of tailor your profile into what you want it to say, and you can have a whole persona before someone may even realize that you're different. Now, some people might think that this is dishonest, and I mean, yes and no. I guess it could be. I, for one, for my profile picture, never, ever showed anything from my waist down. Up until very, 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 very recently, actually, when I started this channel again last year, I had a rule where I did not allow people to photograph me from the waist down. I just hated the way I looked. I didn't want to see it. I wanted to pretend that, you know, I looked like everybody else. So my profile picture never ever showed me from the waist down. It was always, you know, here up. And I maybe put things in my profile description that maybe would allude to a disability, but it never came out and said specifically or showed that I had cerebral palsy. That being said, I never, ever, ever met a person on the internet for coffee or anything like that without telling them beforehand. So what I would do is I, you know, would put my profile up and wait for the responses, and then I would chat the guy up. And we would talk for a while and, you know, get to know each other as best you can on the internet. And then inevitably he would say, hey, do you want to meet? And my response would always be, sure. I mean, if I did, that sounds great, but there's something that I feel like I should tell you. And I had this whole blurb written out on a Word document that was like this big, explaining that I was born premature and I have this condition called cerebral palsy, and kind of explained what it meant for me. And then I always put a little get out of jail free card at the bottom. This would say something like, I know this is a lot to deal with. Please feel free to ask me any questions within reason. I'd be happy to answer them. And I understand if this is a deal breaker for you. And if I never hear from you again, that's okay. I understand. And I would send it and I would wait with a bated breath sometimes, because, you know, you talk to these guys for a little while, you maybe text back and forth and you kind of feel like you get to know them, and then you send them this bombshell. And the responses were varying. Some people were like, you bitch. You know, why would you string me along? That's a terrible thing to say, and like leave. Other people would flat out call me a liar and say that I'm attention seeking and that I'm a terrible human being. Other people would genuinely want to know more, and really interesting questions, not just like the intimate questions that people might have for you when they find out you're different. But all in all, the responses were varying, and I did have some people who I never heard from again, and I had some people who said it was okay, and that they weren't shallow, and that I was beautiful, and yada, 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 and they still would want to meet. So in that situation, then I'd be like, okay, cool, right? This guy doesn't care, let's meet. After meeting a few people online on dates, and having varying success with the first date, one guy I met online, just as a quick side note, I think we were on our second date, and he was much older than me. I think I was 19 at the time, and I think at the time he was 27, 28. So like really quite a bit older than me at the time. And it was our second date, I think, and we were having dinner, and he wanted to know what my plans were for the summer. And so at that time, I had thoughts about having my hips done surgically, that some doctors wanted to do some things to my hips, and a heel cord lengthening and hamstring lengthening that I had done before. Now, the hip surgery was going to be extensive and it was going to be brutal, and I knew it. But the heel cord hamstring lengthening, it's like, was nothing compared to the hip surgery. So I decided to play it, easy and be like, well, I think I might have surgery this summer on my heel cords. And, might put me out of commission for a little bit of the summer, yada, yada, yada. It's not that big of a deal. As I was mid-eating my dinner, right? And the look on his face, he like literally stopped eating. And he was like, oh, let's go. Like, let's go right now. I can't handle this. And I'm like eating. And I'm like, what? And he's like, if you want to ride back to residence, you'll come now. And I was mid-eating, but like, I didn't have a car, so I had to stop eating, and he took me home. And like, I didn't hear from him again for a couple weeks, and then he tried to grovel and say he was sorry, but like, red flag, this guy is not for me, right? At the time, I was devastated, but now I see it as he did me a favor. But after that experience of not being able to finish my dinner, because I like to eat, I decided that I would always bring my own transportation to these dates, first dates, second dates, what have you. So usually online dating, I would meet the guy for coffee. Coffee was always safe. It's a quick in, quick out. If you wanted it to be, it could linger a little bit. And, these guys I met with varying degrees of success. I'm a very shy person. And I'm I am very wary of meeting new people and what they think of me. And so I know that I never really gave off a very warm impression of people. I always had a wall built up because I was always afraid that I would let this wall down and then I wouldn't be good enough for anybody. So I always built up a wall, and I had very, very, very high standards for what I wanted in a man. And no one could ever really live up to that. And it was a problem, and it was my own problem. And it was something that I had to work on. But needless to say, I didn't have very much success with dating and online dating. And it was a struggle. I dated from when I was, after high school until I was 29 when I met Rob, and it was always a first date after first date, very rarely a second date. Maybe sometimes I would date someone for a little while and then I'd find a problem, or they'd find a problem. And I would always let my disability get in the way. I'd always let it get in my head that I wasn't good enough for this person because I had this disability and I must have something lacking in me. And it was a very big insecurity problem that I had, and it got in my way. And I didn't have a normal dating life in my late teens, 20s, and I didn't have the same experiences that one would expect some young people to have. And I really do think it hindered my growth. And I wish I had opened myself up more to experiences. I wish I had not been in my head so much. I wish I had just been able to enjoy and to go on dates and to let loose with people and to really enjoy myself, and to not always think that I was lacking because I had a disability and that I walk different. And if you're out there right now and you're considering dating and online dating, I really, really hope that you take these words into consideration and just go and be yourself, and don't overthink things, because if the person is there, if they want to be there, they've seen you, they've talked to you, they know you, they want to get to know you, but they don't want an insecure person. They want someone confident with themselves, regardless of ability, regardless of what you think you may look like. Just be yourself. And I wish that was advice that I could have given to my younger self. It would have made my late teens, 20s a lot more enjoyable. I was a really sad person because I thought I would end up alone, and I thought that no one would ever love me, and It wasn't until I was able to let down those walls that I was able to even contemplate that someone could love me and I could love them. But really, and it sounds cliche, but you do. You have to be okay with yourself first. And I mean, it's not something that happened overnight. I still struggled with it when I finally did meet Rob. I struggled, and I still sometimes struggle with it. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. It's hard to be out in this dating world, relationship world, when you have societal expectations on you and in your own head, but you just got to get over it. And I wish that I had known that more. I would have experienced and had better experiences and had a normal dating life and all that, but I didn't. I tried and I went on dates, but I never really dated people, if that makes sense. I mean, there were a couple guys here and there. I went on maybe 3 or 4 dates, maybe a week or 2, but nothing significant, right? And it was me. I got up my own way. Okay, so that's my experiences with dating. In a very generic way that I hope maybe you guys can take some lesson on what to do, what not to do, learn from my experiences. If you like this kind of CP related content, please, 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 please give this video a big thumbs up. If you have your own dating story, give this video a big thumbs up. Please, please, please hit that subscribe button. I really, really do appreciate it. It really does help this channel out so much, and it will allow me to keep making this disability related content. Share my videos with families and with your family and friends and whoever you think might enjoy it. People that are disabled, people that aren't disabled. Let's get this out there. Let's get this message out there that disabled people are normal people and we have normal experiences like dating. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any video suggestions for me, please write it in the comments below. If you have your own dating horror stories, I would like to hear it and to know that I'm not alone. Please write it in the comments. And as always, until next time, bye-bye.